Well, let's start with the Amazon project. They're working on it right now. It's all going to be river stones and bushes and brush and stuff, and yeah, a nice natural way that the water can flow from this area down into there, and be very nice. It'll be quite nice. See, it's over by all these fields, and now hopefully the kids won't go down there and smoke dope, but it is Eugene, Oregon, so the kids are going to leave school anyway and smoke dope. That's liberal America, and off we go. So I was thinking, it was an interesting thing, this one of the various recent rages that because that's a good way of putting it, rages that Destiny went into, was at the end of it, he was like, because they're un-American, that people who they're not deracinated and have some understanding of their European heritage. So there's actually things that they have an awareness of that. Just like it would be normal for black people to know something about their past, and hold some part of it dear to them. Like I collect lots of black music from very specific part of history in black music, because I really like that sound. And so it's one of these things. I mean, and then music that was that of similar style, whether it was from Vietnam or whether it was in Spain or in East Africa, and their take on soul and jazz and reggae and the music of the 60s, styling of the 60s and late 50s. And I just really like that, and there's something about it that it's appeal to me. It's incredibly deep, and it just, yeah, and so I like reading about the liner notes and knowing about the people involved, and it's just one of those things. There's just no way around that it's peculiar to the fact that those are my mother's people. It just like I have a fascination with like Freemasons and European history, and especially things like how society was ordered and what people knew, what we know now, and how did people order society so that they had the outcomes that would get them through various wars or famines, or their blights of and stuff like that. And what are the traditions of wisdom that sometimes we don't even realize? Like why are there wagon wheels on? Why are there wheels, but specifically imitation wagon wheels on houses in rural Oregon? I mean, anyone who's been in rural Oregon has seen this, especially once you get to forest country. Houses with wagon wheels that are all of all different sizes. There's no matches. It's all different sizes. But this is an old tradition. And some people are into various old traditions and keeping them alive. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's inherently American. It is actually inherently American to be Christian and to be completely at ease with your neighbors who are either not or are not in your group of faith, not a Roman Catholic or not an Orthodox or not your type of Protestant. That's inherently American. Quite inherently American. The tolerant Christian. That goes back to literally the argumentation for the foundation of the country, and why there was not going to be an establishment. The state cannot establish any church. So the state cannot, in some way, shape, or it's supposed to be, and so what ends up developing is something called the accommodation, not clause, but accommodation tradition. And the accommodation tradition is why we have the welfare state now. The welfare state is just an emulation of something that was created by community organizations. Whether, we have leftovers of this, like the Odd Fellows or Knights of Pythias, if they haven't been pulled into the Odd Fellows. I mean, the Order of Freemasons. There's not many that are still around anymore. They're also how we established insurance. So what these started as were inherently tolerant religious organizations that were community oriented, for pulling money together in a way that was known to the British people who came here, that they had these old traditions of doing this. I'll say where I grew up, you had the Italian benevolence societies and the Chinese benevolence societies, that the old tradition that goes all the way back to where they were from for a long, long time. And the idea that these would be a key way that a community would look out for their progeny, and that eventually these would develop into their own financing firms, insurance firms, and much more. I mean, just think of, what we think of the Freemasons now. I mean, just there's whole sections of stores that are nothing about books about the Freemasons, in any bookstore. So, and actually, they were also key in the establishment of getting occultic books published and Judaica published, that and in lots of libraries and in places. And the whole idea being is that this idea of that is very American. There's people who might not like it because of their religiosity and because there's a degree to which they're like, I don't know about that shit. But my argument keeps coming down. This is why you have to keep up your traditions. You have to outbreed the people who you don't like their traditions. You got to make sure your kids stay traditional. Ooh, we got one. Here, hold on. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, yeah, right overhead. Woo-wee. That is a pretty bird right there. Look at that bad boy. So that thing's been making all kinds of a fuss around this area. It would, go outside of its territory, and it would, start scaring the crows and stuff like that. So the crows were, chasing it off. It was pretty interesting to see. Because he was kind of that bird was kind of whatever. He was looking around, all bold. And there we go. See? Let's see. Yep, that's a crow. What's he doing? Looks like he's just flying around. Okay. Maybe he saw that hawk thing and was like, okay, I gotta do the patrol. So, anyway, hearing that was one of those lines that I was like, no, Destiny, you guys who embrace the French Revolution, that you're not fighting off a distant ruler who just extracts taxation. That's not what you guys are talking about. You guys like the French Revolution, that once you've beheaded all sorts of people in the capital, then you're going to go out into the countryside and rape and pillage the farmers. You guys embrace the French Revolution idea. We're the ones who embrace the idea of the American Revolution, where we're like, no, now there's this country seems to be getting, well, and then it's that so you're celebrating at this point with supporting the Democrats, supporting Biden, being like, oh, Trump sucks, blah, blah. Fundamentally, it comes down to, we now know that the FBI, that there was basically a thing of the Department of Homeland Security has been found out to have been trying to make sure to watch what Christians buy. So books, specific Christian books, they were seeing who buys them, such as the book Christian Nationalism. You're on a watch list, possibly. Who knows if they still have it or not? Because why have clarity on this? Why have clarity? What does the book say that's so terrible? There's all kinds of books. You could buy a book on that espouses for Antifa, but oh no, can't Christian nationalism. No, because those people now and then say mean things on the internet. What is their uniform? Show me their uniform. Put one together. Show up on your next, take a photo. Show me on stream. I made sure to dress up like one of those hooligans from the Christian nationalists in the United States. Is what they wear when they engage in frequent political violence with their political opponents. Show me. Yeah, because you live in a pretend world, because you're a child. Because you're a childish people. At a certain level, you're childish, not childlike, childish. And so, not fully formed adults. Often this has a lot to do with being physically fucked up or having mental problems. And there's no way around that one. Cenk Uygur never knows what he's talking about. Tom Hartman's another one. He's a scrawny man, who's always probably been intimidated by good-looking men who are fully formed men, and Cenk, he's diminutive, and so it's weird looking. He looks weird, and so it's just one of these things and Hassan's just a typical rich socio, and that you see on the left, and when you read something like True Believer, you start to pick these things out. And then when people start bringing up enough about their past, you're like, oh, okay, this is making quite a bit more sense. Well, one of the things to the right is, if you don't confront your past and ask God to forgive you for it, it gnaws at you. You always have some problem gnawing at you because you won't admit to yourself that that's some kind of problem and that you have to improve, because you simply can't live as anything less than what you could be. Magnanimity. It's very American. There's actually, you could look back like 100-some years. You'll find books written for men by men that espouse the virtues, manliness. There was the whole thing of the golden age of physical culture that was brought back during the early 2000s. Hence a lot of the YouTube channels that you see. People forgot the generation that brought that back. We're all kind of old guys now, it's like, people are like, oh, kettlebells. Yeah, I have one of those, it's like a four pounder. They're like, they make ones? What? Is that a staple? What is that, an earring? Is that a septum piercing? What is that? And it's like, you're like, God damn it, the only one they sell is what, 50 and 72? What the fuck? What are Russians made of? How big are these people? Holy crap. And so now I've been sitting back like, so having the Democratic Party is dick deep, balls deep in the deep state now. Or well, actually it's the other way around. Deep state is balls deep in the Democratic Party now. And the Democratic Party fundamentally has been operating since really Barack Obama as just kind of this sort of front for what the Pentagon and then what now appears to be a whole section of the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security. Almost every part of what was a nightmare of the Department of Homeland Security has been made into a nightmare under the Democrats. and under the influence of them. Trump simply was not. He didn't believe people on the right. He didn't believe the right wing. He thought, like, no, you guys are paranoid. This isn't. There's not a big cabal of people. He thought that people do their job, and he's the new boss. It's according to the rules. Do your job. He didn't know that, like, oh my gosh, like, no, we got to completely overhaul this. Like, and there's people who he realized, like, oh, there's all these people that they got what they wanted. And you don't see them around much anymore. They got what they wanted, but he didn't get what he wanted. So you don't see them around him now. And some of these people are related to Trump. Yeah, by marriage. But anyway. So, you have the Department of Homeland Security now actively watching people the Democrats just don't like. They don't like that, So why don't we get our friends over at the spooky House of Spookies and Glowies why don't we get our friends in Langley at Quantico to go and take a gander at what this church is doing. And that, that was another thing they found out, that quite specifically Catholics who weren't in agreement with the Pope on all of the commie shit that the Pope is about, because the Pope is actually like from this line of people in the Catholic Church, especially the fact that he's coming out of Argentina or Chile. Yeah, it's Chile, right? But he was. Wait, which one was it? No. He was Argentina. Yes, yeah. Because he was a. I can't believe I'm forgetting their last name now. But fundamentally, they were very, very friendly with fascists being extradited out of Italy and other Mediterranean countries quite secretly and brought to Argentina. And so that woman, Don't Cry for Me, Argentina, she's, fascist. So what you see of their state is the leftovers of that. And Millier is finally being like, no, we're going, and they finally got to the point where they could openly say, no, we know that this guy was very comfortable with fascism, and this is what he did to our country, and now we have this gigantic state that oversees everything, and not well. And so people like the Young Turks and Tom Hartman and Vaush and Hassan and them, what the whole idea is that they're like, no, they get it. They're like Richard Spencer in this, where Richard Spencer is much. He's just a real one about it. He's a real wood about it. We get a hold of the state, and then we use its coercive power against the non-whites, the whites who won't go along. He's very open and honest about it, and so that's why so many Christians had to leave all of this stuff from the alternative right, because they're like, no, that's quite inherently not what I want. like they're like this. No, the state is just this tool. It's a philosophical tool. It's just this complex of laws, and we're just giving it authority. It's not real, and it's because that's the milieu within that Christianity was developed in. It was developed in societies that, there might have been kings and warlords and this, that, and the other, but you had to have a group of men who could fight available to you, or you were one of the people who is always begging for, some kind of mercy, at some stage. So it's just, and it's the real way real people really were and really are to this day. Liberals don't believe in that. They think that society creates this. Man, everyone would be peaceful little girls if it wasn't for the evil man patriarchy society with money, and that's long been shown by Europeans explorations, and none of that was true. Then we look throughout history and we find, yeah, Marx was definitely not that great of a historian. And so now it's this thing of, well, so all of you guys on the left who have all these shows and stuff, you're hanging your hats on a philosophy that's, its epistemology is garbage from the start. Like how humans would behave without this. And then the whole idea of this thing called society and all, everybody's shown there's nothing to that. Show me 5 grams of society. This isn't something scientific. Now we have fucking econometrics now. The right uses econometrics. That's how we're finding out that women, there's going to be this huge problem with women over the next 20 years, because you can't get women to get anything but worthless degrees. They simply will not do things that are not worthless degrees. There's nothing we can do about it. We offer them, we've spent billions and billions, maybe even trillions of dollars to get them to take science courses. They're not interested. You can't just force them. Yeah, science, bitches! Science now and immediately. So it's really now this thing that, as just one example, it's like you can't make them science. So, in a way, there's this one part of me that's kind of on like that good luck kind of, thing. But then there's this other part of me that's like, no. This is something, this is going to hit me. Something that is going to be that essence of it. No, really, you guys are weirdos who don't fit in, obviously. That's why you're leftists. It's always been a subculture. It's always been for odd people, for fat girls, for angry black people who weren't very charming or were really not good looking. Or that they were obviously kind of the saturnal person. This tall, dark, and very likely violent. Or kind of like smart and hiding their violence. Because they're a socialist, they're a leftist. It's inherent in their thinking, because to them, they think they are being coerced into their society's coercing them. They as if society just providing them school to go to. That there's all that's so coercive, and it's like, well, okay, so I mean, so is it that you would prefer homeschooling? Well, no, they categorically reject homeschooling. Well, because to them they know, oh well, no, religious people do that. No, that's for the right wing. You see, actually, no. And it's like, well, so would you not educate children? What's your point? And the paved sidewalks, things like that. Oh well, that's it's super bad for the environment and bourgeois and coercive. Until you don't have them and somebody else does, and then it's like, oh, why don't I have paved roads? It is come for free in that town, because of course taxation for some reason is always that's its own weird world when you're talking to people who are left of centers, the nature of taxation. So the more I think about it, the more I'm like, no, there's really something. It's going to hit me. It's going to be just a set of words that's, about that kind of thinking. That's like, no, really, obviously there's something, you guys obviously don't really fit in some key way in the United States. And because you kind of are wet blankets in a lot of ways too, I would have to presume you would crush a scene. You would be the person who would come in, you would kill the fucking party. It's the left is always bringing a guitar to the fucking party that they hired. One of the housemates is a DJ, And this fucker brought a fucking guitar. And, and that's, in a way, I kind of, but the thing is, I don't see Hassan, Vaush, or Destiny as people who would be disciplined and talented to play guitar well. But I guess that's also the thing about the guy who brings a guitar to the party. No guarantee that they could actually play something you want to hear. So, but yeah, it's just that kind of mentality. Something that yeah, lame yet narcissistic, and very, very glee, very like thespianism kind of fellows, like there's something about them that comes across very thespianish, like they would fit in more with theater people. And so yeah, I just started thinking about like that just really threw me off. I'm like, un-American as compared to what, Destiny? I'm like, your side is openly violent and coercive. Everybody's been on Twitter and they see what Occupy Democrats and Antifa and BLM were posting. And BLM wasn't even a legitimate ethnic organization. It wasn't even a legit ethnic organization with Proud Brothers behind it. No, it was fucking a bunch of chomoids and other misshapen oddballs and grifters like fucking D. Ray McKesson. So it's like, what do you guys actually have to offer to the next generation other than chaos and lameness? And now with like this whole thing of all this like kind of DEI entertainment, this die art die entertainment, I mean, that's just the gift that keeps on giving now. Just seeing like these people lose their money hand over fist. And then realizing here and there, you see something where obviously somebody got the fucking phone call, said, what the fuck is happening to my money, Saul? Morty, Saul, where's the fucking money? Where's the money, Morty? Where's my fucking money, Morty? Oh, yeah. All right, have a good one.